So the judge gave her a PR bond to go on house arrest, and I'm like, fuck you, you know. I'm like, the guy was fucking like you need a list of injuries. The guy's crippled for life.
Oh, on conditions.
Yeah.
And not to have contact with Marcus Brown,
Yeah.
Sam
And if that
Napier,
was a wealthy
Damian
guy,
Woodmore. And there's no
everybody would have
person-to-person
agreed.
contact, no contact with third parties,
You
no
know?
phone calls, no emails, no text messaging.
That's the thing.
See what else?
And these people and wealthy people don't go into this court. A lot.
Okay. What kind?
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so bad, see if we can do that.
Like, don't get me wrong. I agree with the PR bond.
Also,
Not sometimes.
you're not to possess any firearms or any other dangerous weapons. You understand that, Mr. Braxton?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have another case, so that will be. Another case, you have another case of assault and battery, so that's gonna be dealt with. If not today, if not right now, this session for the afternoon session. You understand that, Mr. Braxton?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So those two bond conditions that I've indicated. Oh, also, it appears there was a prior bond condition. You're not to go to Harper Hospital on John R. So those three bond conditions. You understand all those bond conditions, Mr. Braxton? Okay, and then from December 19th, 2022, a warrant was issued for Mr. Braxton's arrest. He did not appear. Bond was set at $100, 10%. This is 1, 2. Let's see. Looking at these two priors, failure to appear. Okay. Council Vincent, go ahead, Esteban, please.
Thank you, Magistrate Steve Benson, P71917. We're going to ask you to continue this, or in the alternative, to issue monitorization. The defendant, outside of his arraignment and his subsequent arraignment on his bench warrant that actually you ended up performing for that second failure to appear in November of 2022, he hasn't attended one hearing regarding this case. It's the initial arraignment and then the arrest on the bench warrant, only for him to fail to appear that second time. So respectfully, we're going to be asking you again to either continue this. I know it's only $100, 10%. I would actually be asking you to increase it, but I don't know if the court has authority to increase it, or in the alternative, just to issue monitorization.
Thank you. Go ahead, Council Roberts.
Your Honor, while I acknowledge KPA's history on this matter before the court and the other matter that's going to be addressed either sometime this morning or later this afternoon, hopefully, I would just like the court to know that Mr. Braxton indicated he was having multiple difficulties with family death and a car accident. And so while not an excuse as to why he's missing court, we just ask the court to potentially sympathize with what Mr. Braxton's been dealing with. He's not able to post any money for bond at this time. He receives government assistance. He does indicate he's currently living with his mother, that he is a father of 4 and a lifetime resident of the city of Detroit. Our office is going to ask for personal bond on this case and ask for personal bond on the other case when that does come in front of the court, Your Honor. So we're essentially going to ask that even though there is KPA's history on both, that you consider giving him another chance, as Mr. Braxton does understand he has to return back to court on these matters moving forward. Right, Mr. Braxton?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Roberts. Heard the representations. Court uses clear and convincing evidence standard when it's in the training monitor bond. Uses started with a personal bond basis. Mr. Braxton was in front of me back in November 2022. 2 years have passed. I haven't heard any reason about you understand that why he couldn't come, but he had at least 2 years. 2 years and up till today that he could have walked in. Or he could have done something or made some inquiry. So the court is going to keep that bond amount. Even though the court has the authorization from Judge Jones to modify his capious bond, but that still means that Mr. Braxton, you have another court date for this Friday since it's unaffordable. You probably meet the 200% guideline. January 31st, 2025, Friday, 9 o'clock, front of Judge McConigal or Judge Williams will look at the bond amount or bond conditions. Understand that, Mr. Braxton?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're probably gonna be in front of me again sometime today on the other matter.
Is this
Thank you, sir.
pre-trial,
Step aside.
Your Honor, did you say pre-trial February 5th for Judge Jones?
No, this is, Judge Jones, and it's February 10th.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Hey, you got a break?
So what's your name?
James Armstrong.
James Russell I'm sorry, did you say Thomas?
No, ma'am. James Armstrong.
Try one more time.
Number 10.
James Armstrong, I believe he's saying. Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I thought it was Armstrong. Okay, Mr. Armstrong, James Russell Armstrong, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Armstrong, I'm Magistrate Chuck Dasser. Not only are you here on a criminal matter, but you're also here on misdemeanor matters. These are misdemeanor matters that you did not show up for court, but the court's going to recall the warrants. You're going to get a personal bond. That means nobody needs to pay any money for you to get out of jail. So far, do you understand everything that I told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Maximum penalty on the misdemeanor is up to 93 days jail and or $500 fine. First ticket is P1083817, driver's license never acquired. And next one is P1478412, driver license suspended, driving under a untitled vehicle, no insurance misdemeanor. And last ticket is 051465551, operating motor vehicle while visibly impaired. Is a guilty plea from 2006, it looks like. Okay, but enter plea of not guilty. So you have court date of February 19th, 2025, 1:30 p.m. It is a pretrial and a review court date in courtroom 533. You understand that, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say, orally or writing, it can be used against you in the court of law. Right to an attorney, have that attorney present during questioning. If you're unable to afford an attorney, one will be appointed for your court expense. Understand those rights, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's go with criminal matter. Case number is 240-4430201. Please say your full name again.
James Russell Armstrong.
Good morning, Amber
Thank you.
Roberts, appearing on behalf of Mr. Armstrong. He's been advised of his rights. We'll stay on mute, and we ask the court to enter plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Thank you. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Court date is February 10, 2025. Pre-trial for Judge Austin Garrett. Mr. Armstrong, some bond conditions. First of all, is you're not to have any contact for Chrisana Stitz, last name is STITTS. That means no person-to-person contact, no contact with third parties, no phone calls, no emails, no text messaging. You are not to possess any firearms or any other dangerous weapons, and you're not to go back to the Fort Ham residence. Do you understand those bond conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will also say that on March 5th, 2024, a warrant was issued for Mr. Armstrong for failure to appear pre-trial. Bond was set at $500 cash surety. It also says defendant cannot appear via Zoom. Defendant must post bond. And with that being said, that means that the court cannot adjust that bond condition. So, Councilor Ragnan, go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, no, since you gave him a personal bond when he was arraigned on 224, he hasn't been heard or seen since. So I think the bond should remain in place as well. Thank you.
Well, the court is going to stay with that because it's very clear instructions from Judge Garrett where defendant cannot appear via Zoom. Defendant must post bond. But Counsel Roberts, go ahead and place your argument on the record, please.
Your Honor, Mr. Armstrong is not able to post any money for bond at this time. He receives government assistance. He indicates he is a lifetime resident of the city of Detroit and a father of 4 grown kids. I would respectfully ask you to consider a personal bond It's my understanding that my client does have a medical condition. He does take medication and he's not receiving them while being in custody. So I would urge the court to take that into consideration and possibly change the bond to personal.
Okay. Well, the court's not going to change because it's clear instructions from Judge Garrett that the defendant must post bond, but because Counsel Roberts indicated cannot afford it, that he is going to get another court date. That's going to be this Friday, January 31st, 2025. It's going to be bond redetermination, 9 o'clock, in front of Judge McConnell or Judge Williams, who will look at the bond amount and bond conditions. DDC, can you mark Mr. Armstrong's file medical? And Counsel Roberts, did you say that he's not getting his medication?
Yes.
Okay. And DDC, can you make sure that he tries to get or that he does get his medication? Did you hear me, DDC? Mr. Armstrong, you can step aside.
Your Honor, can I have his pretrial date again, please? I'm sorry.
Sure, February 10th.
Thank you.
Before we get to the gentleman in front of DDC officers, can you hear me? DDC officers, can you please respond? Okay, did you hear about making Mr. Armstrong's file medical? Is that a yes? No, I need a response verbally, please. Okay, as long as you mark this file medical, I appreciate it. Thank you. Gentleman at DDC that says Smith on the sweatshirt. What's your name, sir?
Ernest James.
Mr. James, this is Magistrate at Chattanooga. Are you here on a criminal matter? Case number 240-60-85401. You do have an attorney, sir. Go ahead, counsel.
Theodore Roberts is hearing on behalf of Mr. James. Your Honor, he's been advised of his rights. He will stay on mute. We ask the court to enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Thank you. Going to enter a plea of not guilty. Court date is February 10, 2025. It is a pretrial in front of Judge Jones. Mr. James, some bond conditions. There's no driving of any motor vehicles. Also, there's no drinking of any alcoholic beverages. There's an alcohol tether. Okay. You understand those bond conditions, sir?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
James. Let's hear the
Okay.
rest before we say
Mr.
it.
James, stand by for a moment. You do have the right to speak, but you have your attorney that will speak on your behalf. Is there anybody here on behalf of the people?
Who is it?
This is Mr. James.
My apologies, Your Honor. I thought he said a different name. Ernest James, Samuel A. Ragnan, for the people. Very sorry.
Okay. Thank you. And Counsel Ragnan, did you get the court date?
I did, yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead for the recommendation, please.
Well, Your Honor, he's charged with felony third offense. He's had a previous felony third on 7/16/10, another felony third on 8/5/10. And he's had another felony third, 2 of them on 7/16/10. People are going to ask for a $10,000 cash surety bond, Your Honor. Even though it's from 423, we believe that the defendant causes extreme danger to the public because he continues to drive drunk, Your Honor. And in this situation, there was an accident. There's a witness to the crash. The defendant was there. He admitted that he was coming from the casino, and he sorry. So I believe that the cash bond is appropriate, but we're also asking for an alcohol tether, and we're asking for a GPS tether, probably with a curfew, to make sure that he doesn't drive, basically. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Council Roberts, go ahead, please.
Your Honor, I am gonna ask for a personal bond, but before I get there, I noticed that you gave a pretrial date for Judge Jones, and I think that this being a felony, he would need a new date with PCC and exam.
Oh, yes, you're right. Thank
But-
you.
Yes,
Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
That being the case, Your Honor, I am respectfully asking for a personal bond. I would ask that the court not impose monitorization at this time, being that the incident date as alleged is April 23rd, 2023. A client indicates being a lifetime resident of the city of Detroit, that he's a father of 3 grown children, and he's currently residing with his granddaughter. Your Honor, my client's unemployed. He receives government assistance. He's indicated he's completed the 12th grade. He does have some medical issues. I do believe he is getting his medication while in custody. However, I would just ask the court, although this is a felony case before the court, to respectfully consider giving him personal bond without the monitorization at this time. I did hear you already rule, though, and say an alcohol tether, but I would just still place my objection on the record.
Thank you. Ms. Lisa? Mr. James, it's a felony, so I need court dates for a felony. I missed it, and Council Roberts was kind enough to remind me that it's a felony. Thank you, Council Roberts.
You're welcome.
All right, so we will get to the court dates in a few minutes, but let's deal with the bond amount. So he lives with his granddaughter. Mr.
Yeah.
James cannot afford the bond, so there's no reason for him to go anywhere. There's no driving period. Not only he's not to drink or use any alcohol, but an alcohol tether will be placed on him. Okay. However, but I want to know from Council Ragnan, has there been anything else since 2023, Council?
No, Your Honor, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so what he is gonna get is a $25,000 personal bond. That means the court is not gonna put any monetary money for Mr. James to get out. Okay, but I will tell you, Mr. James, any violation, you're caught drinking, even if you're not driving, but if you're caught drinking, that's a violation of your bond. And next time there may be a monetary bond instead of a personal bond. Do you understand that, Mr. James?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
So we're gonna wait until we get court dates for you with $25,000 personal bond.
I'm not calling back, because they're gonna have to change the judgment. Who's that, Brooke?
Yeah, she wants,
Yeah,
can't find the
yeah, they can do it this afternoon.
Okay.
hold on.
Ms. Lisa, do you have some court dates for Mr. James?
No, I had to call in the back, the judge Webster has.
Okay. All right, Mr. James, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you stand to the side because we need to get your court dates. There need to be some conversations, so don't go anywhere, Mr. James, just aside from the camera.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. The gentleman in blue, what's your name, sir?
Hey, Dario Brett.
Thank you. Is it Dario Deshaun Burton, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Burton, I'm magistrate Chet there. You hear criminal matter. Case number is 250-554-1301, sir. You do have an attorney. Go ahead, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Iantra Roberts appearing on behalf of Mr. Burton. He's been advised of his rights. He will stand mute. We ask the court to enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Thank you. I'm gonna enter plea of not guilty. You want Mr. James files right here and just put it on the top. Thank you. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Court dates are February 5th, 2025. Probable cause conference followed by preliminary examination, February 11th, 2025. Both matters are in front of Judge Shakay. Mr. Burton, let's say bond conditions. No contact with the Sierra Garmon. That means no person-to-person contact, no contact with third parties, no phone calls, no emails, no text messaging. You're not to possess any firearms or any other dangerous weapons. And you're not to go back to the let's see. You're not to go back to Ms. Garmon's residence on Burwood. Do you understand those bond conditions?
My grandma's house. I stay
That's your
right next door to my
grandma's
grandma's house.
So if that's your grandma's house, sir, you don't go by to that residence. And
I
if,
said, okay.
okay, as long as you understand that, that
All
is
right.
no contact with Sierra Garmon and not to go back to the 11653 Burwood. Do you understand that, what I've said so far, sir?
Yes, I understand. But I want you to know that I do stay next door to my grandma. I do own the house next door to my grandma. That's what I
Okay,
was
well,
saying.
we'll see about that. We'll see about that. So, and I
Thank
see that in the investigator's report, that it's a different address, but it's close by. So Council Douglas, please go ahead. Esteban,
Your Honor, Mr. Burton, the people would ask for a bond of 35,000 cash or surety. I do note that this is a couple months old. However, given the allegations here that there was a firearm involved, that Mr. Burton knows where this complaining witness lives, we do have concern here. The report indicates there's a child in common, which increases the likelihood of contact between the two. Until Your Honor, although there's no prior convictions that I saw for Mr. Burton, the allegation that he pulled out his gun or arranged his gun so that it was visible and said, "I will shoot your ass," gives us concern for the safety of this complaining witness. So we're asking for a bond of 35,000 cash or surety and no contact.
thank
Your-
you. Council Roberts, go ahead.
Respectfully ask for personal bond. My client's maintaining his innocence in this. He's indicating that the allegations against him are not true. He's a licensed resident of the state of Michigan. It's my understanding that he is a father. He indicates that he has sole custody of his son. It's my understanding he is currently working, Your Honor. He does have a GED. And respectfully, we would ask that you consider no assaultive content if possible. It's my understanding that the complaining witness stays with his grandmother, and I believe that he takes care of the complaining witness and his grandmother. And so we would just be asking if the court would allow no assaultive contact for that purpose. And if not, then that's something that could be addressed later on. But at this point, Your Honor, we are asking for a personal bond.
Okay. Well, first of all, he is not to go back to the Birdwell Street, whether it's 11661 or 11653 Burwood, whether they're next door to each other, or there is a house in between.
No, it's not. It's right next door.
Sir? Next
It's
door,
not
thank
in
you.
the Okay, okay.
Please don't say anything else.
I won't.
I know you're
Sorry.
trying to help, well, please don't.
Yeah,
You
that's
have your
fine.
attorney to represent you. Okay. When allegedly he has, at that time, and I don't know if now he still has it, he has a concealed pistol license permit. And
Yes.
allegedly is, don't say anything, Claire. So right now is that I don't want him having any firearms. I don't want him on the Birdwood Street at all, period. Okay, even though this is a few months old, this is not like it's 6 months old. This is only from October 11th, okay, of last year. Just a little bit right in the middle of October. And allegedly struck the complainant in the face with a closed fist. That's the domestic violence, okay? But in this case, allegedly there was a firearm and a holster on his hip, and with alleged statement, "I will shoot your ass," unquote. And it took Mr. Burton's grandmother who intervened, and he left the residence. The court, no, this is too close in time. So what I am going to do is that, Council Douglas
Yes, Your
does
Honor.
not have any priors of assaultive behavior.
That's
Would
correct,
that
Your
be
Honor.
fair?
That's fair, Your Honor.
All right. So, let's see. 6. So I'm putting on his paperwork. He's not to go to both residences. Well, Mr. Burton, you're gonna have to find another place to stay at. Unless the court of record changes your bond conditions. I do find you a danger. But since this was a few months, I haven't heard anything new. Don't say anything. I haven't heard anything new. So I'm going to give you those bond conditions. Even if Ms. Garman wants to talk to you, you cannot, because you're under court order. You understand that? Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so as long as you understand that, so with those matters and those bond conditions, don't have anything to indicate that he hasn't or has failed to abide by any other bond conditions, has not shown up for court, no other assault of history that I'm aware of. This is a few months ago. So I'm gonna try and I'm gonna balance this. I'm gonna give him a $50,000 personal bond, but with those bond conditions. And if, sir, hold on, Mr. Burton, so you understand, okay, you're not to be around any firearms, not possess any firearms. I suggest you get somebody else, take whatever firearms that you have that are in your control, move them away. Do you understand that part?
Yes.
Okay, so you are getting a personal bond, but you're not to go back to either of those residents, no firearms. You're not to have contact with the complainant. Understand that?
Yes.
Can we have a police
Sir,
officer?
you violate the bond conditions, violate the bond conditions, sir, then you're gonna be looking at a monetary bond without a reasonable explanation if you violate. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And Council Roberts, you're asking for one-time police escort?
Please, Your Honor.
Okay, so, and Council Douglas, you're objecting to that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, that's for the record. I'm giving you a one-time police escort, meaning you can only go to that location on the Birdwood, which is the 11661 Birdwood, so you can get some of your belongings. But you can only go there with the police. You can't wait in front of the house, wait for the police to arrive. You have to go there with the police. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. That concludes the arraignment of Mr. Burton. Hang on, let's see. Okay, DDC, can you bring back Mr. James? Mr. James, we're calling your case number 24060854001. The only thing left was your court date, sir. Okay, February 7th, 2025 is a probable cause conference. February 13th, 2025 is preliminary examination. Both matters are in front of Judge Jefferson. Understand that, Mr. James? Okay. All right, Council Ragnar, anything else you want to add?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Council Roberts, anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go with Mr. Jones.
Cordero DeAndre Jones.
Mr. Jones, I'm Magistrate Judge Thacker. You're here on two criminal matters. One is a misdemeanor matter, the other one is a felony matter. Misdemeanor matter is 25044300301. The felony matter is 25055543001. You have an attorney. Go ahead, counsel.
Gabriel Roberts, appearing on behalf of Mr. Jones on both matters, Your Honor. He's been advised of his rights. He will stand mute. We ask the court to enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Thank you. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. For the misdemeanor matter, court date is February 10th, 2025, pre-trial in front of Judge Garrett. For the criminal matter, court dates are February 5th, 2025, probable cause conference, followed by preliminary examination, February 11th, 2025. Both matters are in front of Judge Shakay. Now, in reference to bond conditions, okay, let me tell you what they are. In both matters, for no contact, you're not to have any contact with the Tiffany Keith. That means no person-to-person contact, no contact with third parties, no phone calls, no emails, no text messaging, as well as that applies to an Aaron Gibbons. Same bond condition, no contact individually or through third party. Understand that, Mr. Jones, as to the bond condition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, sir, you're not to possess any firearms or any other dangerous weapons. And thirdly, you are not to go back to, let's see, which is the Pallister residence, apartment 406, City of Detroit, as well as and apartment 2 on Woodmere. Do you understand those bond conditions?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor.
All right. Counsel Vincent, you're here on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Magistrate, and good afternoon. Steve Vincent, P71917. Regarding our recommendations on the misdemeanor domestic violence assault and battery case with an offense date of August 25th of 24, we're going to be asking for a $25,000 cash surety bond. We're going to be asking for tether house arrest. On the assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder domestic violence case with an offense date just 3 days ago, January 26, 2025, we're going to be asking for a $75,000 cash surety. Also with a tether house arrest. For housekeeping matters, Magistrate, this defendant is currently on probation for a conviction of first-degree retail fraud out of Third Circuit. He also had a domestic violence case that was dismissed against this same.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, attorney, I'm just asking that you don't.
Go ahead, counsel.
Right now.
He also had a domestic violence case that was dismissed in June of 2024 against the same complaining witness because she failed to appear. His past convictions are pretty substantial. We have a 2005 assault and battery, a 2006 assault and battery, a 2007 armed robbery where he ended up getting 8 to 30 years. He gets out and he ends up getting a conviction for disturbing the peace and then subsequently gets a conviction for a retail fraud first degree, which I had already told you that he's currently on probation for. This complaining witness has no assaultive convictions whatsoever in her past, and I just named you 4 from this
Lost her
defense.
kids for assault. She lost her kids for assaulting her kids. She got a PPR police officer for assaulting a little child.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, you know, everything is being recorded. So I'm letting you know that. Everything is being recorded. It can be used against you. Your attorney, Counsel Roberts, has told you to refrain from speaking. I'll tell you, even though you have the right to speak, sir, let your attorney speak for you, because whatever you say, it can be used against you. Anything you say, I'm letting you know that. Okay? Please stay silent.
I'm sitting here with a stab.
I saw that, sir. I read that in the investigator's report, sir. Okay, thank you. Counsel Vincent, are you finished with your recommendation?
I haven't actually even gotten to what transpired in either one of these cases, but because defendant actually just pointed out to this court the cut that he has on his chest, I would like to touch on that incident.
Okay, Counsel Vincent, I will say that in the investigator's report is that allegedly while he was assaulting the complainant found a knife or a stabbing instrument and stabbed him in the chest.
Right.
Is that about right, Counsel Vincent?
Yeah, that's what I have. I think the assault had to do with him choking her, taking her off of the ground, and her trying to free herself.
Okay.
And
okay.
the domestic violence, and I'm not. The domestic violence happened approximately 4 months prior to that. So with all of that being said, Magistrate, I know you're well aware of the allegations. I gave you a criminal history, as well as the priors, as well as the probation that he's on, and the case that just ended up getting dismissed regarding the same complaining witness. Respectfully, we're asking for those cash requests, the 25 and the 75, as well as the monitorization and home confinement.
Thank you. Counsel Roberts, go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, I respectfully ask for personal bonds on both cases as it relates to, first of all, the misdemeanor. Your Honor, that incident date allegedly goes back to August 25th, 2024. I'm sure the court has reviewed or is reviewing the investigator's report, and it's clear that on the in the investigation portion, it's underlined and capitalized that she's also stated she does not want to press charges. And we would just ask you to take that into consideration when assessing bond. And as it relates to, and furthermore, as it relates to the misdemeanor, the prosecutor's office didn't even authorize that until January 28, 2025. So the prosecutor's office, for whatever reason, Your Honor, it appears did not make this a priority in which this was ever authorized in a timely manner. That being said, Your Honor, my client is a lifetime resident of the city of Detroit. He is a father. He's currently staying with his family member. It's my understanding that he indicates he was arrested at the hospital, that he's unemployed. He's not able to post any money for bond. He has completed some college. And as it relates to the felony case, Your Honor, obviously the court and Attorney Vincent have the complainant's version of the allegations, but what we would like the court to know is that Mr. Jones is maintaining that he was assaulted by the complainant, who threw a bottle at him and stabbed him in the chest, and that's how the series of events transpired, and not Mr. Jones being the aggressor or the one who assaulted the complainant. In fact, that he's maintaining that he was the victim, that he was the one assaulted. He's already demonstrated to the court his wound. It's my understanding he was in the hospital because of that, Your Honor. He actually indicates that he drove himself to the police station after being stabbed. All that being said, Your Honor, I know that you have 2 cases before the court, and so the court is looking at this as very serious allegations, but we just want the court to be aware of what Mr. Jones is saying, and this is an arraignment. He's supposed to be treated as innocent. At no point has this court made a determination of guilt. And so we're just asking you to take his position into consideration when imposing bond. And I would respectfully ask that he have a personal bond as long as he has no contact with any complainants in these cases.
Hey, Your Honor,
Thank
can
you.
I say one thing?
All right, you want to say as to the bond conditions or as to the court date, sir?
That's okay, man. That's okay.
All right, thank you. Court heard the representation both sides, uses clear and convincing evidence standard when it's entertaining monetary bond. Bless you. We started off with a personal bond basis. Courts read the allegations in both matters. I mean, if we only had one issue of domestic violence, then that may be a different matter. But Mr. Jones has a history of violence from a 2007 armed robbery, 2007 resisting, assaulting, resist, obstructing. That may or may not have involved violence, but the 2007 did armed robbery, involved some sort of violence. And in this matter, the misdemeanor is from August 2024, and then the felony is from January, a few days ago, January 26, 2025. This court does find that Mr. Jones, he is a danger, okay? So along with the bond conditions, he is gonna get a GPS tether house arrest. Okay. And for the felony recommendation, the court is gonna adopt $75,000 cash surety. Okay. Also, Mr. Jones, please listen.
I don't even
Also,
listen
for
to
the
this shit.
misdemeanor, the court is,
I don't even listen to this shit no more, bro. Y'all one person side of the town, bro. I'm about to go
Okay.
next to the next turn, bro.
okay, well, the court is listening to Mr. Jones, and he's left. That was his choice. Bond is going to be $25,000 on the misdemeanor matter, $25,000 cash surety. I would let Mr. Jones know that he would have had another court date, but he chose to leave. DDC, can you bring back Mr. Jones?
That's corrupt, man. Why would I listen to something that's corrupt? I'd rather listen to a regular attorney, a judge, and want to give me a regular attorney.
Mr. Jones, if you can't abide by, if you cannot abide by what I'm saying, then it doesn't sound like, Mr. Jones, that you don't want to listen to everything that I was going to tell you. Even though this is what I said for bond conditions, sir, I was going to also tell you, sir, is that this court is not the last word. You have another opportunity for this Friday, January 31st, 9 o'clock, in front of Judge McConicle or Judge Williams, who will look at the bond amount and bond conditions.
It's not fair, though. It's not fair. It's not fair. This woman has never been to the hospital. She's never been hurt. Nothing like that. But I'm sitting here with a large collapse, all type of stuff. My only problem with this woman is getting her drinking, and she go off on me, brothers. I got really, you see all
Mr.
these scars on my
Jones, that will be
You see all these
investigated.
cuts? You see all these scars? They come from her. You see all these cuts on me? See all these scratches on my body? They come from her. You see this? He don't have no evidence of that.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Everything that's you've been told that you don't need to say anything, but everything's been placed on record. You can step aside, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, can I please have the bond amount on the felony, please? I got the misdemeanor, but I just need the felony.
$75,000 cash surety,
Thank you, Your Honor.
$25,000 for the misdemeanor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Thank you.
My full name is Aaliyah Abdelatif.
I don't have any more files.
No, that's the one that, let me call Judge,
Magistrate, it's a Cape Piasata Judge Sabri's courtroom.
it's not, it's Judge Taylor.
Oh, did it get
Judge
moved?
Taylor.
Judge Taylor. Okay, my apologies, sorry.
Okay. Oh. Sonia?
Yes.
And Mr. Burton. Ariel Burton, I believe I did him. FA, what was that bond amount? Or you can just give me the file. And Mr. Gresham, we didn't do a Mr. Gresham.
He's with Judge Taylor.
50,000 person.
Oh, 50,000.
For Mr. Burton. Okay. And so Mr. Gresham is with Judge Taylor.
Or is Mary available?
And Mr. Lacy is with Judge Robbins. So that, I believe Judge Robbins handles his matter in the file and calls DDC. So. Have you heard any response from Judge Taylor's?
She's gonna need about 5 minutes.
Okay. Gentleman in front of DDC, what's your name, sir?
My name is Aaliyah Abdelatif.
Okay, sir. All right. Another judge has your file, so we're just gonna have to wait until they can call in. Miss Lisa? Does Judge Taylor want to just dial in directly to DDC? Okay.
Say that. Hello, the mayor's street.
DDC, we have to wait for Judge Taylor to zoom in.
What's up? Where are these people coming from?
Your Honor, do we have anything in regards to, ooh, off my screen, in regards to Lacy and Judge Robbins?
Judge Robbins would have dialed in to DDC himself. This court doesn't have any of the files regarding Mr. Grisham, who is number 5 on the list. No files on Mr. Lacy, who's number 12. That goes in front of Judge Robbins. And no file on number 15th, Mr. Abdelatif Aliyah. That's in front of Judge Taylor.
Okay, so should I hang up and go to those courtrooms, or are they?
No, my understanding, Counsel Roberts, I asked my clerk, she said no, the Judge Taylor will zoom into this courtroom.
And what about Judge Robbins? Do we need to go to him?
Might have to.
Okay.
Okay. You may want to call with that, because from what I understand, Judge Robbins, he takes the file, he calls into DDC, handles his matter on his own. As far as I know, he's the only one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem.
Your Honor, do you have anything for Mr. Drayton?
Drayton? No, sir.
Your Honor, Judge Robbins did Mr. Lacy earlier, so I just have Drayton, Gresham, and Abdelatif.
Okay. Don't have Drayton at all on the list. Mr. Drayton may go this afternoon. Pardon me? Okay.
Magistrate, I hate to do this, but when Officer Green comes back, Officer Green, I apologize, Magistrate. Officer Green, regarding the Lacy, do you know what ended up transpiring in that? Did Judge Robbins, do you know? Okay.
$1,000 personal bond, court date April 29th.
Oh, you're good, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I did. That was bond base thing. Braxton is 100, 10% cash. And